Jake the Snake Roberts. Him too.
Jake the Snake. He's not dead yet, though, right?
No, in fact, he talks to his daughter now.
Wow! You see, we do have happy endings. There are many topics and concepts we are all familiar with, but aren't exactly sure how they work. Each week, Alan Fitzgerald and I choose a topic and try our best to explain it. This is Explaining Things. All right, welcome back to another episode of Explaining Things. As always, I'm your host, Jonathan Tilson, with my co-host, Alan Fitzgerald. How do you become a pro wrestler?
Oh, that's an age-old question.
That's a career.
That was my first choice. I fell into stand-up, but
Yeah.
I think we all wanted to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Of course we
Drink
did.
a couple Budweisers.
It's tough when you're 5'7".
Beat up your boss. 5'8" and 3/4.
I figured you'd be more of a Mankind guy.
So that's where you have to be in extremely good physical condition, or you just have to be able to take a beating.
Yeah.
Like Mankind was like, yeah, throw me off a cage.
His whole charm was he was sloppy. You know, it's like, I don't go to the gym. I'm just a wild man. I can handle...
My finishing move is I pull a sock out of my crotch and stuff it in your mouth.
And then I talk to you with it. I mean, you got to be in good shape, and, you ideally take steroids. I mean, if you do it right, you kind of shoot your family up at 45.
Or not necessarily shoot them up, John. You might choke them out.
Yeah, there are a range of ways.
The point is, there's going to be some black eyes.
I think you're a college football player.
That helps?
That's what it is. You're not good enough for the NFL, otherwise you'd obviously go to the NFL.
Yeah.
And hopefully you have a little charisma.
Yep.
You know? But if you're massive, you need less charisma. It's a formula.
There was a wrestler named Viscera. He was 500 pounds. No charisma. And his finishing move was he just fell on you.
And the audience loves it.
They love it.
You know why? Because the audience is the salt of the earth. Okay?
Beautiful, wonderful people.
In another episode we recorded, we talked about the war on Christmas. This is the base.
Yes.
Okay? This is the base for the war on Christmas. They're losing America.
Yeah. If you've ever written Austin 316 on a piece of poster board, you know about the war on Christmas.
If you've ever done a figure 4 leg lock to your buddy, you know what this country is slipping away.
Over the age of 15.
Exactly.
Oh, but wrestling fans, they love it so much. It's a beautiful thing to see. I mean, it's some of those amazing things. I saw it was Stone Cold Steve Austin once. He literally stunned 50 people in a row. I was like, Romeo, I was like, War and Peace, this is shit. And I threw the book in the fireplace.
That's what makes him one of the
greats.
greats.
Beat up his wife a little bit. That's bringing the character home too much, Steve.
Oh, that's why it's fun when they get in trouble for domestic assault or something outside the ring, because you're like, he is that guy. He's that guy.
He's that guy.
You see the way he talks to the female wrestlers? He's that Joe.
Female wrestlers are wonderful too. Classless, scantily clad. Just get those whores in there. Love it. Love it.
It's really a stripper who can talk.
Don't be taking shots at my mute stripper friend. Darla, this has nothing to do with you. He doesn't know. He's ignorant.
Wrestling is ideally for children. It's kind of like Disney for people from bad homes.
A little bit.
It's for kids.
I think the reason that I haven't continued on my love of wrestling, it sort of stopped in elementary school, is because I had a father in the house.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. You know what, though? At the same time, there are so many families. There are families that go to wrestling.
No, you either didn't have a father or your father just took you to wrestling a bunch.
Oh, my God.
It's one of the two. All right, so we're getting off track here. How do you become a wrestler? You need charisma.
You have to sacrifice your body.
Oh, yeah. You need to be willing to, walk with a limp when you're 42 and keep wrestling.
You have to be in it for the right reasons.
Yes, because you're not going to get paid a lot at first.
Yeah, and the sad truth is, the more harm you cause your body, the more entertaining the product is.
And the less you'll be able to work in the future when Vince McMahon is done with you.
That's right. When you have no health insurance at 43.
You're addicted to oxycodone.
Your wife left you for a younger wrestler.
Just towed your monster truck away.
Unless you're one of the fucking stars, you're not making incredible money with this gig.
No.
You're making enough money where you're making more than you would if you were just in a cubicle.
Cubicle's usually not an option for these folk anyways, let's be honest. Yeah, more than you would operating a tilt-a-whirl.
You have to be concussion friendly, okay? None of this NFL pussy shit where they make you leave the game if you wobble.
But be a little careful, because again, you want to be on the sidelines.
The human body's amazing.
It really is.
You can do cocaine, steroids, and hits to the head for 20 years. We know this. We've run the experiment.
The experiment is, of course, the Ultimate Warrior.
The Ultimate Warrior. And how did that end?
Not great. He's dead. See, wrestling's fun. Don't let out those depressing documentaries that show you how they actually live their life fool you.
No.
Wrestling was better back then. It was very politically incorrect.
Incredibly. I mean, I think it still is for the times, but back then you could do things that were unforgivable.
You used to have to sell the rights to your character to Vince McMahon.
No,
and by sell, I mean he wouldn't give you any money. They did that to Doink the Clown. They fired Doink the Clown.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, and then Doink got fired. Next thing he knows, he sees some other alcoholic clown out there with 6 midgets following him around. He's like, that's me!
And he's on the side just trying to get his career going, being Poink the Clown.
Doink the Clown went out real sad, actually. He,
Let's have a moment of silence for Doink.
Yeah, he died in a car crash with 30 of his friends.
Big muscles and charisma. Can you remember a couple lines?
Hey, are you willing to get hit in the face with a ladder?
Are you one that thinks that the NFL should adhere to concussion protocol? Oh, all right. We'll call you back.
All right, Bernie Sanders.
Meanwhile, it's a guy with 3 teeth and a scar down his face, just like, I just don't want to be retarded forever. Well, that's part of the job. Now come back to me when you get a pair. In the ECW, it was kind of like what the XFL was to the NFL. The product is never going to be as good, but we can make it more violent.
Yes, it's more violent. And, I mean, listen.
It's like a bad action movie. We're sacrificing plot for fucking explosions.
Yeah. It's like, okay, maybe the plot isn't great. Maybe this character isn't great. But he is willing to cover himself in barbed wire and jump off a ladder through a table on some guy.
He will eat glass while smiling. You can't teach that. I was going to say, it's kind of the opposite of porn, where like, you can probably get more normal women that want to do porn than men. It takes a certain kind of guy. But with wrestling, it's much more of a guy's job than it is a woman's.
I mean, I agree that it's much more a guy's job than a woman is, so it's opposite of porn in that way. But I would say a lot of normal guys would love to do porn. Much more than normal women would like to do porn.
Listen, if you come into an explaining show for, agreement, you're not always going to get it. Okay?
Exactly. Sometimes we lock horns on important issues.
New porn star right here.
I go to 5inchesofheaven.com.
You have to have, like, slight acting ability. You know, the better the acting, obviously, the better the wrestler. Like, The Rock might have been the greatest showman there ever was.
He was the best on the mic there ever was.
He really might have been. And that's huge. And that's why he got a career outside of wrestling. John Cena's done a couple things. You know, Goldberg had the Christmas classic Santa's Sleigh.
He also had Universal Soldier: The Return.
Oh, my God. That's the second one.
That's the second one.
Wow.
Some people say the worst one, which is saying something in that franchise.
And by some, I mean all.
If you've watched all Universal Soldiers, by the way, you're not exactly some cinema snob. So.
But you are our demo. And also Goldberg, fun fact, one of the very rare Jewish NFL players. Mm-hmm. That's right.
One of the very rare Jewish wrestlers, too.
Some say more rare. Now, actually, here's the one thing we haven't actually discussed. How do you even apply? Let's say you have those characteristics. Is there like, you go to the website and it's like, you send in a video.
You go to like, a fucking high school basketball gym in Boise, Idaho, maybe?
Yeah.
Or maybe a surrounding town.
Or a state fair.
A state fair. And bang, you start there, you work your way up. It's like anything else.
You come up with your own character, though. It's kind of like stand-up, where it's just like you're kind of developing your voice.
It's a lot like stand-up.
It's a lot like stand-up.
It really is a lot like stand-up comedy.
A lot of lonely nights.
Only we take emotional beatings.
Exactly. I think you submit a tape as your character.
Bill the plumber? What the fuck?
I mean, I like his persona.
The mailman?
Yeah. Oh my God, he uses the sack as a weapon? Scared of dogs? This character has depth.
This is terrible. My God.
You're hired.
All right, so this episode is dedicated to our spiritual brothers in entertainment, the professional wrestlers.
That's right.
From comedians to wrestlers, all the respect in the world.
That's right. Respect their pain, respect their sacrifice, okay? They're going to die young.
They're going to die really young.
They're going to die young, okay?
I mean, look, we die young too, but that's mostly because of alcoholism and suicide. They have the alcoholism, the suicide, plus concussions.
And heart failure.
Yeah.
And,
some of them are paralyzed.
Domestic violence gone wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
Woman finds your gun, uses it on you.
I mean, come on. It could happen any myriad of ways. I think that's all we got, guys. Don't become a professional wrestler. It's dangerous. I'm Jonathan Tilson.
I'm Alan Fitzgerald. I'm just going to say follow your dream. Don't listen to Johnny over here.
All right, follow your dream.
Follow your dream.